Chapter 3 is a whirlwind tour of layout and design. So Price talks you through some just basic considerations for laying out a map, some considerations for coordinate systems. I want to show you in the demo how the difference between projecting on the fly and reprojecting your data. Creating text and labels, and just basic layout. So she starts out talking about how do you plan a map project, and I think she really oversimplifies this, but you do need to know what is the objective of the map. What are you trying to solve, show, what is your overall purpose, and then you need to sit down and kind of think, in order to achieve that, what kind of data do you need. But the piece she leaves out is, I think, the larger and more complicated piece about what are you going to do with that data. What kind of analysis may you need to do. Sometimes it's called your data model. And then layout. You need to decide, are you going to do a paper, a poster? Is this in a report, in a document? Is this a digital file? Because those are the considerations that help drive the next concepts of color and symbols and schemes. So she talks about balance, this idea of white elements, white space and elements being distributed, how even your margins are, alignment of edges. This idea that white space can be great, and that's part of your balance. I mean, you don't need to have things crowded on a page, but you also don't want too much so that it looks blank. And then the idea of hierarchy, both in text and in elements. But with elements, it's what's the most important part of your map, and it's never the north arrow. So when we talk about text, we're going to be thinking about hierarchy of text. So just in font size, the title of the map, then labels on individual maps, then any kind of discussion you might have, and then the name, the date, projection, source, that information would be the smallest. If you're planning to make a map that's going to be printed on paper, you want to use Times New Roman or some kind of serif font in your discussion. Labels and text doesn't matter as much, or labels and title. If you're planning a map that's going to be all digital, then you want to use sans serif. And then Esri defaults when you write a paragraph, or kind of take a paragraph break in the text file, it defaults to center justified, but that's really difficult for reading, so you always want to left justify text. So here's an example of a map where I didn't check the spelling, obviously right there, but you've got a lot of white space. The focus of the map is Central America and North America, and yet that's pretty far over to the edge. The north arrow's really big, the title's really small, my name is too big. If you kind of rebalance some of that, I've got North America in the center, the title is big, the legend is smaller in the name, so and I shrunk the arrow, or the north arrow, down, so it really kind of cleaned that up. She spends some time talking about color. One thing to think about is solid black isn't used very often. Earth tones really do work well for people. So if you're showing mountains and large landscapes and water, you want to use tones that kind of reflect nature. The use of purple, pink, hot pink, red, those should be used sparingly, and maybe just for emphasis or make a point. When you're doing a large area, if you want to have a state with population dots, you would probably pick a pastel color for the states and a bold color for the population dots. And then, we really do have psychological reactions to color, and so a lot of red and orange can kind of indicate danger or anxiety in a map. Blue and green are more peaceful colors. There's a big discussion about whether to use a north arrow or not, especially in some of the projections. If I go back up to this projection, that really isn't north, that's just up. North is more along the central meridian here. This would be north, and so it's kind of understood that in many maps north just means generally pointing to the up or to the north area, not completely or latitude of north or magnetic north. So another thing to think about is your legend. When you have your feature class information, often that's truncated and shortened, and so you don't want that shortened in the legend. You want to you need to remove, not removers, remove underscores, and make sure that everything's capitalized and that your numbers are readable. You don't have too many decimals. You put commas in the thousands place for that. Okay, so she moves then into coordinate systems. So this is a geographic coordinate system. This is an unprojected map, and you can see that latitude and longitude are not converging. That has the effect of stretching North America and Canada east-west. It's a much wider look. Another problem with mapping in a geographic coordinate system is the angular unit is in degrees. It's not in meters and feet. So if I want to do calculations based on area or distance, I can't really do that with angular units. So this is projected then as a Mercator projection, and you begin to get a little bit more approximation of shape with that, and I've changed my linear units into meters. So this is a coordinate system. Probably it was the geographic coordinate system that then on top of that has a projection or a mathematical formula that changes the latitude and longitude. And then this is a common a conic projection. It's common for North America. It's also common for areas that have a larger east-west expanse than a north-south expanse. Okay, so I want to be able to project on the fly, show you reprojecting, and some ideas of alignment. So I'm going to